Before we begin, I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year to make all these special videos, so if you like the content here, please consider subscribing to help fulfill Project 10K. Thank you. Now on to the video. The Mini Racers line will always have a fascinating early history to me, as it started out as a Cars 3 only toy line, eventually expanding to feature characters from all three Cars movies, the Cars tunes, Cars on the Road, and even more than that. But because of its interesting origin, it took us quite a while to get a lot of significant characters from Cars 1 and Cars 2. For example, it took us until 2022 to get the first of the delinquent road hazards, with DJ releasing in a 3-pack that year. Ever since then, they've really been taking their sweet time with these guys, releasing only one a year, with Snotrod following in 2023 and Wingo in 2024. With only Boost left, fans are completely expecting him to arrive in 2025 and of course continue the pattern and complete the set. The Mini Racers do this quite frequently, and it's something about the toy line that honestly quite bothers me. They love taking their time making sets of cars, okay? This is a toy line that released Rusty and Dusty a year apart from each other in separate 3-packs. They're using the same strategy for the World Grand Prix Racers, at least for their normal variants, that is. We've gotten basically one, maybe sometimes two World Grand Prix Racers a year. And then, of course, this year we got the GRC ones, but mainly they just do one new World Grand Prix Racer every year. We got that with Rusty and Dusty, and we're getting that with the tuners. And while it is kind of an annoying strategy, I do get it. You have to put interesting cars in there that will keep fans hooked. And also, when you're selling these characters in 3-packs, why make 3 new releases in a 3-pack when you could put 1 new release in each 3-pack and spread them out over time, of course. I know they did the GRC packs, which have 3 new cars in each, but that's certainly a unique case. Usually, you just get 1 new car in each 3-pack, and they really like spreading it out. But what I find so funny about that is the fact that we've gotten, like, 5 different tuner 3-packs at this point. Okay, because not only do we have the 3-packs that DJ, Snotrod, and now Wingo debuted in, there are also 2 different 3-packs that are just re-releases of the characters. One with Sheriff, DJ, and Snotrod that released earlier this year, and another upcoming one that features DJ, Snotrod, and Wingo set to release for early 2025. There are 5 separate tuner 5-packs, and we don't even have all 4 of the tuners just yet. And I find it so funny that every single time they change up the name of the 3-packs. Sometimes the Mini Racers line reuses 3-pack names, but typically these days they give each and every 3-pack its own name, unless it's something like the GRC 3-packs, which are just GRC Racers 1, 2, 3, and now 4 is coming out soon. And it's just so funny to me, the names of these. Okay, one of them is just called Tuners. That's pretty good. One of them is called Troublemakers. That's the one that's coming out. That's just the 3 of them. That works just fine. But then we have ones that start to get more and more out there, and it really makes you feel like they're running out of ideas for tuner 3-pack names. The one that came out earlier this year that includes Sheriff, DJ, and Snotrod is called the Not In My Town 3-pack, which is honestly an incredible name, and I love it so much, but it's starting to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel. And then we have this 3-pack. The 3-pack Wingo makes his grand debut in, which is called the Speed Limit 3-pack. And I just think that's so great. It's also so stupid. It's incredible. It's great. It's a great one. They're just completely running out of names for these tuner 3-packs. What's the Boost one going to be called? They're really running out of tuner phrases. Guys, I'm calling it now. The Boost 3-pack is going to be called the Drift Crew 3-pack. Okay, it better be. Somehow, none of these tuner packs have had drifting in the name. They love throwing the word drift all over tuner products. But silly name or not, we finally have Wingo out in the Mini Racers line alongside Sheriff and Mater. 2 cars that seem like they're going to catch Wingo if he goes over the speed limit. Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another review and to another 2024 Mini Racers 3-pack review. I'm back. I've been sick for the past few days. If I sound off, that's because I still have kind of a stuffy nose, but I have so many reviews to do this month. I'm very excited to get back into it. I'm especially excited to take a look at these new Mini Racer 3-packs. Typically, I hang up my next review over to the side, but due to my beautiful channel pumpkin this year, Pumpky Crop Hopper the Pumpkin, you can't really see it, but the next review is Qualifying Dusty. Usually, when my next review is a loose car, I hang them in a plastic bag off to the side, but I'm very proud of how I posed Dusty here. He's hanging on to dear life on the thumbtack that I use to hang up my card packs and to hang up the plastic bags on the side. So good for Dusty. Genuinely impressed by that. But, you know, if any of you think that there's nothing over there, there is. That's my next review. Anyway, this pack, of course, includes Sheriff, Mater, and Wingo. Pretty boring assortment, but it's the type of pack a lot of people are going to want because, of course, it includes Wingo. Get back up, come on. I really don't like the fact that Mini Racer 3-packs no longer denote which release is new. You know, it feels like year after year we just started losing more and more of the Mini Racer card backs. They used to say the series name, they used to show you other packs that were out, they used to highlight the cars in blue, they used to say new for this year. Now it's just, here are 3 of them, you figure out which one's new. Maybe Mater's new for 2024. Like, they don't even highlight the fact that there's a new release anymore. And I'm not typically the type of guy to be like, back in my day, it was better. But in the case of the Mini Racers line, you know, every year I'm happy and impressed that the Mini Racers line is continuing. I'm glad to see it getting a really, really nice packaging refresh for 2025. That looks beautiful, the new card backs, if you've seen those floating around online. But it's kind of sad to me that they've kind of stripped away part of what I think would make the 3-packs appealing to kids. You can no longer see the other ones you could collect, and you can no longer see which ones are new. But hey, with all that out of the way, before we take a look at Wingo, we are going to take a look at Mater and Sheriff first. I've reviewed these guys 100 times at this point. I think they're perfectly fine inclusions. Sheriff, of course, is the town sheriff, and Mater lives right next to the impound lot. So while Mater and Wingo don't ever interact on screen in the first Cars movie, I think it's a perfectly fine inclusion. These two make sense being paired up with a criminal, especially in a pack called Speed Limit, which implies that Wingo's just gone beyond the speed limit, and maybe Sheriff and Mater are trying to go after him. There is a look at Sheriff's base, and there is a look at Mater. Don't know what I'll do with these guys. Have quite a few duplicates of both of them. I'll probably turn them into customs at some point, of course. Maters are usually pretty hard to paint, so we'll see. And I don't really have any ideas for what to do with custom sheriffs, in all honesty. Anyway, here's a look at the Mini Racers Wingo, and I mean, he looks all right. I don't know. It's an item that I'm not really the biggest fan of. I think what this Wingo does best are the colors and the paintwork on him. He has this really, really nice light green color scheme, and it's honestly a pretty accurate one. It's not close at all to the original Wingo diecast, but it is pretty close to his modern Thailand incarnation, which is certainly a more accurate color scheme than the original one. I honestly don't know which Wingo color scheme I like more. I'm actually kind of more fond of this original darker green color scheme, but I do understand that that's probably just because it's what I'm used to, and that this color scheme on Wingo is probably more film accurate. I actually don't have the Thailand Wingo, but I do have the Thailand Wingo with flames, and they're basically identical. This is really a nice bright green color that's pretty movie accurate, especially compared to the old Mattel release. It really reminds me of the light green color scheme used on the Mini Adventures Wingo from back in the day, although his was a bit shinier and more metallic. I think my least favorite part of this release are easily just how small the eyes are. I really don't like how that turned out. They're just really, really weirdly small, and they don't really match the other Delinquent Road Hazards. Honestly, they don't really match the art style of the Mini Racers, in my opinion. They just made them far too small, and they're not the larger pupils that we're used to in the little tiny car windshields that gives them sort of a cuter look. It looks very prototype designy to me. I don't know, I would have preferred if they made the pupils a little bit larger there. It just doesn't really mesh with the art style on the other items in the line, in my opinion. He also is quite a bit wide. It's pretty hard not to make Wingo wide at such a small scale, especially because he has these parts that really fold outwards. But again, just kind of wider than your typical Mini Racer, in my opinion. The Mini Racers kind of have an unspoken size rule where most of them are the same rough length and width, regardless of the size of the character. If you were to take somebody like a little Fillmore here, you can see that all of the Mini Racers are pretty much roughly the same size. Even the larger characters, if I were to get like the Mac Mini Racer or maybe a larger character like Mr. Drippy here. They all fall into this same sort of size profile, and for some reason, Wingo isn't really fully abiding by that. He is just a little bit wider than usual, and I understand that Wingo does have some parts on him that really stick out and add to his width, and at the small scale of the mini racers, it's really hard to capture that without making him a bit wider than he probably should be, but even without those, I feel like Wingo's just a bit too wide. So, in my opinion, he looks good, but he's a little too wide. The pupils are a bit too small. He is pretty impressive, though. Of course, his spoiler on the back is a plastic piece, kind of soft plastic. You can bend it quite a bit. It's about as firm as the rest of the mini racer plastic accessories. So, not super, super firm, but I doubt it's going to fall off. We, of course, have his shades up there, not rolled down. We have these sort of characters written on his side, and of course those super cool wheels there. Really, really nice detailing on him. It's always so cool to see how well they condense Wingo's details onto small merchandise like this. Actually, you can see the mini adventures didn't really go for a lot of it. They went for a much more simplified design, and they actually didn't include this darker color that's on Wingo here. So, nice to see, of course, in the modern day, we can do all sorts of fancy printing that you probably couldn't do back in the days of the mini adventures. From this angle, I think Wingo looks pretty good and definitely looks a bit more like a mini racer. It's just from the front, he's a bit too wide. From this side here, he looks really, really nice there. On the back, we've got his Wingo license plate, and unfortunately, despite how good this item looks, how detailed it is, how it doesn't miss any of Wingo's typical details, we got his little exhaust there as well, looking super cool. How great the color is, and how impressive all the printing is, they didn't give him the red on his back. For those of you who don't know, in the movie, Wingo actually has some red designs on his back, and Mattel merchandise never includes this. These designs are on his back and also on his spoiler, and while I understand them not wanting to print on his spoiler, especially back in 2006 when they first made Wingo, to this day, they still don't include the red markings on him, and I think the only time I've ever seen it on a piece of Wingo merchandise was from his Disney Store release. It's really a shame that we have another piece of Wingo merchandise that doesn't have that detailing on the back, but at this point, it's so standard that I understand them not doing it. You know, we're just so used to it not being there. I wasn't really expecting it to be on the mini, unfortunately. It also should be noted that his spoiler only has 4 levels on it compared to the greater amount that Wingo's spoiler typically has, of course, which, again, with the mini racers line, everything is condensed, and if you try to fit all of those little steps on the Wingo spoiler ladder, of course, that wouldn't have worked. I think he looks pretty good, though, in the end. So, yeah, as far as the mini racer delinquent road hazards go, I think Wingo is my least favorite. He just doesn't look as good as I would have hoped in terms of the expression and the size and shape, but alongside DJ and Snotrod, he looks pretty great, and the decals on him and coloring is really impressive, and honestly, the color scheme on this Wingo was probably better than either of Mattel's attempts at making him in the 155 scale line. I honestly cannot wait for Boost to finally complete this set. It's going to be very interesting to see how they pull off a long car like Boost in the Mini Racers line. We'll just have to wait and see, and I can't wait for that 3-pack to be called, Oops, Fast Cars 3-pack or something. Can't wait for that Entertainment Earth listing. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. The 3-pack isn't these guys. It's these guys. I'm so sorry, Mater and Sheriff. Will you guys ever forgive me? Guys, I don't think he'll forgive me. I'm sorry. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.